From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on your MTN Statewide News this Wednesday. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, after it took Congress months to agree on a new COVID-19 relief deal, President Trump is now saying he might not sign it. He's unhappy with several provisions in the bill, including foreign aid, and says he wants stimulus checks to go from $600 to $2,000 each person. Now, something his fellow Republicans oppose. But there may be enough support in Congress to override a president veto. If the president does sign the bill, Montana farmers and ranchers would reap the benefits. $13 billion goes directly to the agriculture industry. The bill also offers grants for meat processors to upgrade operations. But ag leaders say it's only a short-term solution.
Rather than take package like this, we'd rather have the markets available. And so the hurdle is to maintain the trade that we're looking at now and expanding trade opportunities for farmers and ranchers. We produce far more than we can consume. So what's going to drive our price is demand.
In other news today, Montana health authorities report 6 more COVID-19 related deaths and just over 500 new cases. Yellowstone and Lewis and Clark counties each report 2 today, while Carbon and Rosebud each report 1. Overall, numbers do look a little better today as active cases increased by about 100. Recoveries jumped by nearly 400. Officials say they credit new statewide and local restrictions, more people wearing masks, and a personal tie to the virus has people saying they are more aware of the consequences. Well, just days after Governor-elect Greg Gianforte said he may roll back the statewide mask mandate, the Butte Silverbow Health Department will prevent that from happening in its community. The board voted last night to enforce a mask mandate after many community members weighed in. Health officials hope by late spring things will go back to normal. Well, the U.S. is close to making up for the lost deal with Pfizer. Top officials are offering the drug company better access to manufacturing supplies in exchange for tens of millions of additional vaccine doses. It's something the U.S. passed up over the summer before the shot had the FDA approval. The government end of the deal will be made possible by Defense Production Act that gives the government power to tell private companies to make critical goods in times of national emergency. Now, the deal will likely be finalized soon. Well, Montana Republicans cannot agree on a proposal to allow committee chairs to kill bills without a hearing. That motion failed on a 10-9 vote yesterday. Republicans say they like the original proposal, giving committee chairs more power, while Democrats like the older rules, which are more in their favor. The issue could be revisited when the session starts up next month. Well, it's now time to check in on the weather scene and welcome and good afternoon to Miller Robson, our newest member of the MTN team.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure to be on the set with you finally, Jeanelle. I've been watching you. I've been watching on the internet, getting used to your style. I love your style.
Well, thank you.
You got a great style there. And now I'm here to ruin everything.
No, whatever.
Well, let's take a look at those current temperatures out there right now across the state. Outside of Billings, where we're right at the freezing mark, most of us below the freezing mark, so it is quite chilly out there. Yesterday, you'll know that if you'll remember, we hit our highs earlier in the morning, and we just got colder as the day went on because we have this strong cold front that came through, and we're feeling the effects of that right now. Not only is it colder out there, but it is drier. That really strong high pressure sitting up over Idaho is bringing all that dry air, that cold air in from Canada, so we're not going to see a drop of rain really or even snow over the course of the next few days. Big story yesterday too was the wind gusts got near 60 at the Billings Airport. I know is it Cook City? I'm
yes,
learning everything.
It is Cook City.
They won the cookie. They had a wind gust in the mid-70s yesterday.
Ouch.
Now, that's not going to be the case today, but we still could see some breezy conditions. The big story is heading into the long holiday weekend, for the most part staying dry before maybe some more snow coming in. We'll take a look with that main forecast coming up. Jeanelle.
All right. Thanks so much, Miller. Well, as vaccines roll out and a potential stimulus bill sits on the president's desk, healthcare workers keep going above and beyond. Meet 3 Montana nurses on the front lines who've been battling COVID-19 at work and at home.
It's like going to war. It's like you're going in there knowing that the department's going to be full, that you're going to have to wait for rooms, that there's going to be people coming in that are sick.
It's really hard right now to be a nurse, really hard. It's exhausting.
And working when people are dying and not their families not being able to come in and visit. Just horrid, horrid, horrid.
From long-term care, the dialysis clinic, and the emergency room. All three nurses, all three facing COVID-19 head-on.
Every day we see people that come in and then, 2 weeks later they've passed away.
Brad, Shelley, and Sherry share a lot more than their profession. They're siblings who've been battling COVID-19 on multiple levels.
I found out on the 9th, late on the 9th, I was already at work, that my test was positive.
Sherry works at Canyon Creek Memory Care, the first official coronavirus outbreak in Yellowstone County, infecting dozens of people both inside and outside the facility walls.
Went in the front door and down the stairs where I stayed in quarantine.
Despite immediate precautions and isolation, Sherry's 82-year-old mom, who she lived with and cared for, was already infected.
She was disoriented and confused and starting to get a temperature.
And that was horrible, not to be able to come up and help her, to see my mom for the last time before she left the house. And that was the start of it.
The start of more than 3 months of their most difficult days. Their mom, Darlene Foote, entered the hospital alone. And just 6 days later, John, her husband of 35 years, followed.
They were on the same medical floor and didn't see each other.
With both parents critically ill, all 8 children faced difficult decisions.
We had made the decision. We knew that this was, she didn't want heroic efforts at all. We knew she wanted to be around us.
There was no way that I was not gonna allow her to come home. I would have done whatever it took, because I was not gonna let my mom die in the hospital by herself.
We are all so grateful for that time that we had.
We could all be the nurse at that point and all be kids at that point, so we shared the duties.
John finally made it out of the hospital. He made it home. But the damage from the virus plagued his body. And as Brad traveled with him to Cincinnati to be cared for by another sibling, John fell asleep for the last time. So after 105 days, this family was left to deal with the loss of both parents.
1 was a lot, but then 2 close together, that was the hardest. And trying to get John to his daughters. We didn't make it. We didn't make it to our final destination. He did, but we didn't.
Telling their story was not an easy choice. There's deep hurt and feelings of guilt.
I feel like it's my fault that they got it. I just do.
It's devastated our family. Like, we've all lost something.
But all of Darlene's and John's children, nurses and not, agree on a motive, a plea for all people to take precautions.
It's like, no, no, this is not going away. It's real. Please, please, just wear your mask. It's not asking too much.
Humanity is just being kind to other humans. Like, why would you not do one simple thing to protect someone else?
We're all tired and we're all worn out and we all want it to end, but it's not going to. And it's so much easier to be nice and caring. I hope people realize that at some point and make the sacrifices that are needed to get through this.
Sherry, Shelley, and Brad have all contracted COVID-19. In fact, Brad did shortly after this interview, but all 3 of them say they will still get the vaccine. We have more ahead on your noon news. We take you to Kalispell, where a longtime need is finally being fulfilled. A new warming center to stave off the bitter cold. But first, Miller's in next with your statewide weather forecast. Don't go away.